Among the elements that make the bourbon business so complex is the unique three-tiered framework that governs the beverage alcohol industry. It's a system that requires a deep knowledge and understanding to access, as well as a broad network of relationships to navigate.
Brindiamo Group does operate in all of the tiers in terms of helping people that are in those tiers, but we don't have sales in those tiers, right? You could call us up and ask us to evaluate a new label you're putting together or a bottle design or a concept, right? That's at this tier. We could help a distributor sell their business. That's in this tier. But the bulk of what we do is really selling a raw material. Just like you would sell a piece of paper to somebody, right? Or bulk pulp, we're doing the same thing. It's not even a brand. It's just a liquid that still needs to be turned into something.
And that's really where Jeff and I in Brindiamo, I think it all kind of hinges is if you don't have the liquid, it's a non-starter. So it seems to spawn a lot of the conversations and starts a lot of the lessons and allows us to kind of lead people along. And you know, we don't make any of the problems just go away or any of the challenges go away, but we get them all together on the page and on the table, and we help you get an attack plan against it.
At every level of the industry, you'll find smart and savvy entrepreneurs who came to bourbon from totally unrelated businesses and surrendered to the allure of the spirits industry.
The bulk of my career has been in healthcare. I started a home healthcare agency just outside of Nashville about 15 years ago and built that up to a pretty significant rural agency. We had 500 patients. And I ended up selling that to a regional competitor. And while I was doing that, I started a home health and hospice software company, a data analytics firm that predicted probability of patient readmission and all sorts of data-driven outcomes. And I was introduced to Jeff by virtue of a mutual friend, a fellow that works at a bank downtown. Thought we would be interesting collaborators on a technology project that Jeff had decided to work on. I sort of came on as a consultant on the technology effort that he was working on, and so I got into the deep end of the wholesale and raw material side of the spirits industry and had a front row seat understanding how all of the transactions with Brindiamo worked and who the partners were and what the outcome goal was. And so it became really clear to me that there was an opportunity to leverage sort of an arbitrage. And so we assembled a group of investors and have made what have now become pretty substantial investments in Kentucky bourbon over the last 18 months.
Brett Moore also came from a business far from the spirits industry. Prior to owning a retail store, he sold shoes.
Yes, there are a lot of women who enjoy buying shoes, and they have a ton of them. I happen to be in the men's side of the business. Men don't care about buying shoes. It is a chore. It is a have to, not a want to. Unknowingly, I didn't realize that the difference between somebody buying a product or a service that they have to buy versus buying a product that they want to buy is night and day difference. Every person that walks through that front door for us has a smile on their face and can't wait to get in there to make their purchase and potentially purchase something that they walk out with that they didn't come in to buy, but they walk out being happy that they bought and can't wait to get home and have a taste of it.
Jeff Hopmayer and the Brindiamo Group are experts at guiding clients in every tier level. Sometimes Jeff even partners on projects with the friendly competition.
Mark Harris and I have this great relationship that's part of that brotherhood, sisterhood thing, right? And over the years have helped each other out. Over the years, I've lost deals to him, he's lost deals to me.
It's a fun, we call each other up probably daily and just talk about something, but it's a fun relationship. He's somebody in the industry that we get to work really well together. Yeah, we're a little bit of competitors, but we do a lot more stuff together than we compete.
I want them to be successful, right? There's absolutely no reason not to have your competitors successful.
Jeff is not only passionate about the industry, he is also an avid believer in karma, doing the right thing and giving back, so that the whole industry prospers.
I think that we have been fortunate to have some pretty good relationships over time. I think that we value those relationships higher than anything else, and we protect them. And those relationships give us access, and those relationships get access, right? So it's definitely one of the most important things within the space, because it also creates trust. And you can't walk into this business off of the streets at any of the tiers and not have trust. You just won't go forward.
And Jeff is not alone in his commitment to his colleagues. Helping each other is a tradition that has seen the industry through some difficult times.
Several years ago, the bourbon industry was on a downslide. It was thought that bourbon may not survive. That was when vodkas and gins and the clear spirits were taken over. And we didn't start at that point saying, well, we're going to survive and you're not in the bourbon industry. We all kind of stuck together and waited it out. And then when bourbon started on the upswing again, we were all still there together. And we're now enjoying it on the upswing, and we're all enjoying it together. And we're still there to help each other out through the good times and the bad.
I do think it's a very fascinating industry, and I've loved getting to learn so much about it. And be able to work with my dad, that's a very unique opportunity. I've always looked up to him. We've always had a very similar personality type, and I've learned so many life lessons from him that it's cool to now be able to actually see him in his element doing what he loves to do.
I think that for people that want to get into the industry as investors, the first thing I always tell people is you have to be willing to write the check and never look back, right? As soon as you put that money out there, it's gone. You're never getting it back. So if you can't do that, don't do it. If you're going to call me every month, every week, and ask me what are the prices of barrels or how's this brand doing, or forget about it. It's just not, this is not the place for them. The story, the history, the growth, things people are seeing right now, and everybody wants to say they own a barrel or they own a brand, or beverage alcohol is sexy. I mean, people want to be able to say, oh, I'm an investor in that, or I did this. So I think people are allured by many different things, right? But they come into these things pretty blind, and not all of them work. You can't be just a gimmick, and you can't use sex to sell, right? You can't, those just doesn't work. So you really have to have something special, whether it's in the bottle, whether it's part of the story, the DNA of whatever it is. I think to have longevity and to have other people interested in it. I think you have to treat the industry with respect. I think that's critical.